I think I am. Let's start this, shall we? 1 minute, and it should start. Let me just grab this. Come on. This should be big. I mean, yeah, we just need confirmation that it isn't delayed. This will be the one, you know? After this, we know for sure it won't get delayed. I'm kinda out of it. I don't feel so well. So, if I seem out of it, that's why. Oof, arkadaş. Eser. My good friend Eser is in chat. Let me just can I wanna mod him if I can. Oh. This is my first earning calls that I have ever. This is AI? Ik kan Esser. Ah, hier. Kan ik jou modden? Hier. Moderator Esser. Gay Pride. Thank you. Oh, we have closed captions. Bold statements. Yeah. Let's see what's on Twitter in the meantime. Oh, okay. Supporters talking shit. Marketing won't be similar to GTA 5. Oh, stress. $1.58 billion. They already made their budget back. God damn. We are indeed passionate. You said it. this summer. That's huge news. That's end of June. So nothing soon. We don't have to look out for anything. Mobile. These are mobile games. Yeah, I don't think anyone cares about this, to be honest. At least, yeah, not anyone that plays normal games except mobile. I don't like NBA mobile. It's too easy. Let me just open Steam. Let's see what's on sale. He said it again. Ugh. Okay. God damn. There's probably gonna be a question like, can you confirm that GTA 6 won't be delayed? But he can't promise anything. That will be just losing the trust of the investors. He's gonna say like, "Oh, it's we aim to, and we are confident that confident." Right. So this is not too. Okay, I don't really care about this. I used to play PJ, but it's like it gets boring really quick. God damn. I love that. They have enough budget for creative risk. I love that. Who was Carl? Uh, I have some issues with hay fever as well. Lenny. Okay, so this is just more. Okay. God, these numbers are insane. I wish I would have like a gaming. They're not a gaming company to be honest. They're like what more like an umbrella company that has gaming companies in them. But to have a company like Rockstar would be like a dream, man. To make like these kinds of games, that's like a dream, man. That's like a dream. Okay. These are just a lot of numbers, man. I'm turning on. I'm tuning out. Guys. What the hell? God damn. God damn, Rockstar is like a fucking tank. Jesus, what? These are so many, like, billions of dollars. Wait, you guys can't even hear it. Fuck, I'm sorry. Holy shit.
Launch of Grand
I'm
Theft Auto
stupid.
6 and our new mobile releases, as well as higher R&D costs. Now moving on to our guidance for the fiscal first quarter. We project net bookings to range from $1.32 to $1.37 billion compared to $1.42 billion in the first quarter last year. The largest contributors to net bookings are expected to be NBA 2K, the Grand Theft Auto series,
Yeah.
Toon Blast, Match
They
Factory,
keep.
Empires and Puzzles, the Red Dead
I know
Redemption
2K is like a big game, but
Words with
god
Friends,
damn, are there
and The
so many
Vulture.
people that
We
buying a
project
new
recurrent
2K?
consumer spending to decline by approximately 3%, which assumes high single-digit growth for NBA 2K and declines for mobile and the Grand Theft Auto series. We expect GAAP net revenue to range from $1.45 to $1.5 billion.
They keep saying the
Cost of
Grand Theft
revenue to
Auto
range from
series.
$578 to $594 million. Operating expenses are planned to range from $926 to $936 million. On a management basis, operating expenses are expected to grow by approximately 3% year over year, primarily driven by a modest increase in personnel costs. In closing, fiscal 2027 will introduce a new level of operating performance, which we expect to sustain well into the future, driven by a robust pipeline and expansion opportunities across our core franchises. With our focus on incorporating new technologies and tools, we feel confident in our ability to scale our
Alright,
business,
so
generate operational
what does it mean
efficiencies,
though?
and leverage the power of our balance sheet, which we believe will drive long-term shareholder returns. Thank you. I'll now turn the call back to Strauss.
Strauss!
Thanks, Lainey and Carl. On behalf of our entire management team, I'd like to thank our colleagues around the world for their commitment to excellence and to our strategy of being the most creative, the most innovative, and the most efficient company in the entertainment industry.
They sure are.
To our shareholders, I want to express our appreciation for your continued support. We'll now take your questions. Operator?
At this time, if you would like to ask a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad.
I don't have a
Withdraw your
telephone keypad.
question, simply press star 1 again. We will pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. Your first question comes from the line of Eric Handler with Roth Capital Partners. Please go ahead.
Here we go.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the question. Lainey, just a couple things within the guidance. Looks like, at least on a non-GAAP basis, your operating expenses are looking, let's call it for round number purposes, about $3.8 billion. That's a $300 million incremental increase on a year-over-year basis.
Which is crazy.
How much of that is due to marketing? And when you look at sort of like the trend for the next couple of years for G&A and R&D, what do those trajectories look like? I assume they'll be much smaller than revenue growth.
Yes, that's correct. So we expect to have a lot of leverage over the next couple of years as we continue to scale the
This is like
business.
where my study
And
is.
for the 300 million
I do
hire
business
for
IT and
the
management.
year,
This is like
about half of that is for
exactly
selling and marketing
what I do.
expenses for the entire company, as we have significant marketing for
These like
our
deep
entire
questions.
pipeline of titles
I need to
that are
get better
coming
at
this
that.
year.
Okay, that's helpful. And then as a follow-up, how should we think about RCS? And once GTA 6 comes out, how are you sort of thinking about the trajectory of GTA Online when that game is launched?
Ooh, good
Rockstar
question.
will provide more details on the GTA series when they're ready to talk about that.
Fuck.
Yeah, I think you're asking though, what do we expect will happen with recurrent consumer spending regarding GTA Online? And look,
Correct.
I think to say that everyone has been pleased by the ongoing trajectory of GTA Online, Red Dead Online, the sales of GTA 5, the sales of Red Dead would
I
be a
know.
great understatement. These titles have proven to be
Well,
vastly more resilient than
they
any
are
other
so
title.
high
I
because
think
we're
it's a
waiting for
reflection
GTA
of
6.
the quality of the work that Rockstar has done, despite the fact that Grand Theft Auto 5 is now has been in market for 3 console generations. It continues to sell. It's now up to 230 million units. Red Dead is up to
Fucking hell.
85 million units. So, we're
Such
so
GG.
extraordinarily pleased with how Rockstar's titles have
John
performed. It's
Spilliavello.
difficult to know exactly how Grand Theft Auto Online will do after
Who is
the
this?
release of Grand Theft Auto
I
6.
recognize the name.
Certainly it will stay in market, and certainly there are
Zash GG?
many consumers who love the
Yes,
title.
we am. Oh, fuck.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Who
Your
was
next
that again?
question comes from the line of Colin Sebastian with
Niet
Baird.
Mo, toch?
Please go
Moment.
ahead.
Thanks. Congratulations on the
Ik ben je niet vergeten, maar ik weet niet jouw naam gewoon. Weet het op Twitch niet uit mijn hoofd.
Cash flow influx in the per the guidance for the coming fiscal year. How are you guys thinking about capital allocation between returning to shareholders versus other uses? And I have a follow-up.
Zash GG.
So,
Ben een
this will
vrouw.
sound boringly consistent with our answer to this question. It's the same as it has
What?
been for as long as we've been in the position of having positive cash flow and positive cash balances.
What?
There are 3 uses of
Ik mis hier iets.
our capital here. First, to support
Ah!
organic growth. This company's story has largely been an organic growth story.
yeah.
And we certainly have expectations for
Yeah,
organic
okay.
growth in fiscal 27. And we believe that fiscal 27 is setting a new benchmark, a new standard
Hallo,
for this
hello.
company going forward. That's all organic. But as you can see from our numbers,
Nee,
we have to invest.
Geen probleem, ik ben gewoon, hoe heet het? Een earnings call aan het kijken, niks speciaals. Doei.
That'll continue.
Doei.
The second use of our capital is very selectively when it makes strategic sense, and let me emphasize this, when it's accretive.
Als je
we are
ooit
willing to engage in
Call gaat spelen.
opportunities. The most
Let me know. Ja, ik speel het niet echt meer, maar misschien als ik ooit een keer gespeeld, dan laat ik het wel weten.
For $9.7 billion in cash and stock, and then more recently the acquisition of Gearbox.
Komt goed.
And so, I'm proud to say that all of our acquisitions have turned out to be accretive and successful.
Doei.
Nearly a 2-decade period. That's pretty breathtaking for corporations, not generally the case. And I think that's because we're immensely disciplined. You're not going to see us doing deals hand over fist, but assuming our balance sheet continues to improve, I think you could imagine more inorganic growth in the future as well. And we've already said in this release today that we expect to be in a net cash position by the end of the fiscal year. And finally, we return capital to the shareholders when it makes sense. So far, we've done that through share buybacks, and they are opportunistic. We believe that share buybacks make sense for our shareholders when they are executed at deep value. Our last buyback was done at $158 a share. We'll see
That's
how
a
the
lot.
stock opens tomorrow, but I think no matter what, that was pretty good plan on our side. So, like all stocks, they move around different price points. Our stock traded down as low as I think 195 in the last 6 weeks, And, you know, there is an opportunity to return capital to the shareholders when it makes sense.
Thanks for the reminder on those, Strauss. I guess maybe as a follow-up, and maybe some of the structural issues in the industry, including sales of current-gen consoles. I'm just curious how that impacts, you know, your thinking or your assumptions in terms of establishing pricing and pre-order expectations for
Pre-order?
titles like GTA 6 in the coming year. Thank you.
Sorry, what would the relationship be from your point of view?
The install base of hardware may not be as high in this current console generation as it might otherwise have been. You know, certainly value price points for certain titles have done well versus premium pricing.
Okay. This is a big one.
Considerations.
Look, when we look at pricing, I would not say we look at it in the context of the install base. We absolutely look at pricing in the context of the property itself.
Ah,
So what we want to do in every
That's not good.
situation, whether that's console, mobile,
That's not good.
online, or catalog, is delivered to
they're
the
probably gonna
consumer
price it high,
vastly more
80 or
entertainment
90,
value.
maybe 100.
We want the consumer to have a great experience, and we think a consumer experience is the intersection of what you get and what you pay for it. And probably a great example of that is Mafia: The Old Country, which is a terrific title. But it's not, you know, it's not a 100-hour experience, not a 50-hour experience.
Yeah.
And so we priced
How
the
much did
title
that?
at $50, and consumers were thrilled, and we had a massive
Oh.
hit on our hands. Now, I suspect we
Wait,
could have
maybe it's gonna
priced it higher,
be
but
70, 80.
we wanted to make sure that consumers loved it, and part of loving something is feeling good about what you pay for it.
Love that answer. It's probably gonna be if they are gonna compare it to
Your next
Mafia.
question comes from
I
the
think
line of
they
Doug
are
Creutz with TD
targeting
Cowen.
like
Please go ahead.
70, 80 because Mafia was
Hey,
50.
thank you. I wanted to ask in the context of your guidance that mobile you're assuming is down this year, based on some attenuation in the performance of older games. Is that based on anything you're seeing in the year to date, or is that more of a, hey, these are older titles, let's be prudent in our outlook? You know, similar to, I think for many years you guys had sort of said we expect GTA Online to be down because it's a many-year-old live service game, and then it would typically do better. Can you just give some context around that, and then also what you might be assuming for your 2 new mobile launches within that guide? Thank you.
Also a good question.
So it's a very fair question. We had a great year at Zynga, and I think it's more the way you characterized it, which is we're not prepared to guide to, you know, continually beating expectations materially at any business unit. So we do guide as we see it, you know, and this is how we see it. However, as you said, it is a reflection of the fact that some titles that were newer last year are older this year. Now, all that said, you know, Toon Blast was up 25%, and it's a very old title. So we do have opportunities to exceed our expectations now and then. But, you know, this is our best estimate sitting here today. As far as our expectations around new launches, you know, we in the mobile side particularly, we never anticipate huge numbers because it's just impossible to do so. Hit ratios are just too low.
Mobile games
So
are
our
like
guides
hit or
typically
miss.
reflect our expectations around the
Like
marketing
either
spend
you
in
get
the
a
year.
huge game on your hands,
We don't,
otherwise it's just
never
gonna be a little
guide around doing
like a
something silly.
niche game
You know,
that some
in the
people
mobile
play, you
business,
know?
if you're getting bad immediate results from a marketing spend, you stop doing it. And our dev costs are pretty manageable in the mobile world. So I would say, unlike say console, where you know you have a big release growth, I'm not going to give you the example you want. So we have basketball coming up. Like, you know, we know how many units it sold so far. 10 million units sold in to date. We know the prior year, the year before that. We have a sense of the market. Like, we can estimate that pretty well within a band. But with mobile, we just don't have the ability to do that. So I think it is. You correctly intuited that our mobile numbers would not include an expectation for some massive new release hit.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Your next question comes from the
The line.
of Corey Carpenter with JP Morgan.
Corey Carpenter,
Please
that's
go
a
ahead.
name right there.
Good afternoon. I had 2 questions on NBA 2K.
No, we're not doing
Clearly,
this. No
every
viewers from
franchise
Streamboo.
this year, but hoping you
Delete.
could expand a bit on the trends you saw in the quarter.
Sorry, bro.
Moderated, you said.
We're done doing this shit.
A little more than you'd
I
expected.
appreciate you for chatting, but
And Carl, maybe could you talk a bit about the
Like, I don't want
that
anyone.
you saw with the initial college basketball rollout? Thank you.
I don't want anyone to get advertisements in my chat. I'm sorry.
So for NBA, this was one of our strongest quarters for Q4 in the franchise history. In terms of looking at our expectations, this reflects the extreme growth of Q2 and Q3, where we saw a high concentration of spending from our most engaged players early in the year, which left less upside opportunity heading into Q4. So that's really what we saw in Q4 this year.
And on the college piece, yeah, we are very excited about our college release for season 5. I would describe it at this point as it's a taste of what's to come. We did a deal with that featured 16 universities.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically validated our expectations and the opportunity that we think could be very meaningful for us going forward. So the short answer is stay tuned. It's very exciting for us, and we're very happy how things have turned out so far.
All right.
And maybe as a follow-up, Strauss, on the last earnings call, Google Genie had just launched in beta. There's been some conversations more recently around the ability for AI to perhaps create GTA 6 in a couple of months. I know this is a bit of a generic high-level question you've touched on before, but just given this remains a pretty big debate among investors, thought it'd be helpful to hear your latest views just around what you're seeing in AI and how
Good question.
Change the gaming industry.
Good question.
In particular. Thanks.
Probably like
We
improvements
remain enormously
and
optimistic. Technology helped build this company. Video games are created largely.
probably gonna be like performance.
When I started in the video game business in 1993, we were making 32-bit games, and they certainly didn't look anything like they do today, and that's all driven by tech. I think the sort of confusion surrounds a belief that somehow more efficient asset creation puts us at some disadvantage or creates a competitive advantage for someone else, and I just don't believe that's the case. To the extent that technology allows anyone to do a better job in asset creation, naturally we'll avail ourselves of the same technology. If you take a look at the tech in market that is currently licensed for the creation of video games, it's licensed broadly. No one exclusively licenses technology for video games. So if a competitor has access to AI and that allows someone to do something better, quicker, cheaper, then we would have access to the same thing. The second point that I've made that I would stand behind is that the asset creation is not the same as hit creation. So the entire story around the Gemini release was, wow, you can create assets that look like video games more easily than you could before. I hope that's true because that'll benefit us naturally. We have three-part strategy: be the most creative, be the most innovative, be the most efficient. Seems to me that even if it doesn't help with creativity, it certainly should help with efficiency and innovation. So that could be thrilling, but we do have to remind ourselves asset creation is not the same as hit creation. And the best example of that is, there are thousands of new mobile releases a year, but there's a handful of new mobile hits a year, and we.
That's what I'm talking about. Like it's a hit or miss.
Everyone has access to the same tech because everyone licenses exactly the same underlying technology for the creation of mobile titles as we do. I remain highly optimistic. Now I'll give you a real world example. I was visiting one of our studios, and they showed me some advertisements that they were putting together to advertise their games. And these were live
GTA?
action ads, and they were funny and cute, 15 to 30 second ad units that you've seen a zillion times. And they were all created with AI, licensed AI, legal AI. And the script was done in-house for free, well, by colleagues who work at the company already. And the software was used, AI software was used. The entire cost of making the spot was zero. And previously we hired third-party companies to actually create those with human beings. And those spots could cost $25,000, $50,000, $100,000.
Yeah, not a fan of this, but
not only were we not interested in reducing our headcount to make this happen, we didn't have the opportunity to reduce our headcount to make this happen. The entire marketing team at this particular studio is 2 people. They're doing a great job. But what AI has allowed them to do is be more efficient, make great stuff, and do it cheaper.
For smaller companies, it's perfect.
This is all a benefit to our company.
Come on, give me a question about GTA 6. Give me a good question.
Your next question comes from the line of Chris Schul with UBS. Please go ahead.
UPS or UBS?
Great, thank you. Strauss, I believe it was a few quarters ago you mentioned your expectations for GTA 6
Here.
continue to increase. Any updates you can provide on your general expectations and levels of confidence for the franchise based on the indicators you have at this point? And how do you expect that this title will perform relative to GTA 5? And that, Laney, maybe I know there's a lot of noise to margins this year with the marketing and the software amort, but I believe I heard you said there's a lot of leverage over the next few years. But can you just remind us how you're thinking about the ability to return to the historic margin levels that Take-Two used to see? Thank you.
I don't recall the comment you alluded to. I'm pretty much, I think I've always said the same thing, which is, how could we not be? We're all extraordinarily excited about what Rockstar Games is working on. We're all incredibly enthusiastic about the upcoming release. And equally, this is a management team that never claims success before it occurs. And I'm pretty sure that every time we've had the luxury of having a conversation about an upcoming release that looked good, I've said, we absolutely never opine on how high is up. We certainly work toward the best result and hope for the best result. But that is out of our hands. What's in the hands of Rockstar, from a development point of view and a marketing point of view, is trying to make the best entertainment property they possibly can, and then bringing it effectively to consumers all over the world.
I love that they're like giving Rockstar like free reign.
Margin improvement remains a key priority in our financial strategy, but we recognize that margins will
Hello.
fluctuate over time based
Ben
on a
live, by the
variety
way.
of
Ben
factors.
live.
In fiscal 2027, we're reaching a new level of operating performance, which
Ja,
we
jij bent
expect
gemute.
to sustain well into the future, driven by a robust pipeline
Ja,
and
ja, ja, ja.
opportunities across our core franchises. So as we operate at this new level and generate operational efficiencies through reduction efforts and leveraging new technologies, including AI, we aim to
Jij bent
enhance
gemute
our
nu, maar
margin
als je wilt kan ik je
profile over
unmuten
time.
voor op stream.
So if you think about our operating expense leverage, it represents our largest opportunity, which we believe we can achieve as we grow our scale, both organically and inorganically. We've mentioned previously.
Het is echt gewoon wat wij doen op BIM.
Our titles are affected by the increasing cost of development. So we've been making
Gewoon de vraag die hun stellen is gewoon letterlijk gewoon wat BIM is.
The driving efficiencies and reducing expenses. So you've seen some of that coming through the P&L in the last couple of years, and the leverage we've seen in the last year in terms of our operating expenses. Also the D2C efforts in mobile, that's also working towards improving our margins. So this was a year where we scaled the business meaningfully and we achieved strong leverage on our expense structure. So we'll continue to do that as we look into the future.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Andrew Marok with Raymond James. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my questions. Maybe one on the Rockstar Mission Creator. I know Strauss called that out in the prepared remarks as an interesting factor. I guess, are there any learnings from the early days of that and some of the recent missions that were created as you look to scale UGC and some of your Rockstar properties? And then I have a follow-up.
User-created content, generated content.
Look, we're trying to meet players where they are, and to the extent that people want to have a hand in creation, there are numerous opportunities for them to do so. So, I just think it's incredibly exciting, and our company embraces these advances. So, we're not precious about what we do here. We're open-minded. Another example of that is the 5M business. Where this started as sort of a business that was outside of our four walls, and now it's a business that's inside our four walls, and we're thrilled that it is.
We gaan 5M waarschijnlijk heel veel gebruiken in GTA 6 Online.
That there has been some kind of correlation between the mobile business and macroeconomic factors in the past. I guess, what level of conservatism might you be baking into the guide around general economic conditions as it relates to the mobile business?
We hebben weer gezegd, november 19 geen delay.
We're not economists, although we certainly have a point of view about where the economy is going.
En hebben gezegd, zomer begint de marketing. Dus midden juni.
Your next question comes from the line of Matthew Cost with Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Morgan Stanley.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the question. Strauss, there's a comment you made in the prepared remarks about your expectation to sustain higher levels of scale going forward. just given the potential for Grand Theft Auto's performance this year, that's a high bar to clear going forward. So as investors think about the opportunity to sustain your scale off of that base, how should they think about the mix between just an ongoing significant revenue contribution from Grand Theft Auto versus the pipeline that you went into some good detail on the prepared remarks discussing? And then I have one follow-up. Thank you.
So it reminds me of my SATs. It's box D, all of the above.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Your next question comes from the line of James Heaney with Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Well, he said he had a follow-up
Great.
question.
Maybe just diving in again on mobile. I mean, it's just been impressive to see continued growth of Toon Blast and Match Factory as kind of the biggest drivers for the segment. I was just hoping you could go into some detail about the unique drivers across those franchises that you think has sort of enabled them to continue growing this far after the initial launch. Thanks.
Well, actually, very different. So Toon Blast's been around for a really long time. Match Factory is relatively new. So Match Factory last year was still in growth mode, and we've projected that it would moderate. We'll see what actually happens. Toon Blast is a legacy title, and with regards to Toon Blast, what you're seeing is,
Zoveel spiepen van de fucking sport.
consumers who are involved are getting more and more involved, and that's a reflection of the content that Peak is putting into the game and offers that are made to consumers. So basically, with regard to a legacy title, where you may not have a sharp growth curve on DAUs, you will have an effort to actually serve the consumers we have much more effectively. And I think that's what you're seeing in Toon Blast.
Ik maak jou wel moderator op mijn YouTube kanaal.
It's not that old a title, so it's very different. We need to have, we need to be muscular in both areas. We need to be able to, to run our live services businesses really well for a long, long time. And Zynga does a phenomenal job at that. But by the way, so does Rockstar, right? GTA Online is a live services business. It's 13 years old, right? That
Yeah, 13 years old.
Legacy live services business. So NBA 2K Online is a live services business. And we have to do everything well here. It's what makes this place an exciting place to work. We've got a pipeline of frontline titles. We got to turn them into hits. We don't always succeed, but we have to try. We have a live services business that I just mentioned. We have to optimize those across both mobile, console, and PC. And then, of course, we have a catalog. And when you add it all up and we do a good job across the board, you get the kind of year that we got last year. And we now expect to.
Okay, dit is wel genoeg geweest. I think this is enough.
Largely by the launch of